What would you do if you lost your job today? If literally everything was gone and you had to start again from scratch? If I was in that position and I'd lost everything, and it's a question that I ask my clients on a regular basis, what would you do? How would you rebuild your career so that you could come out as being the phoenix from the flames and build a new career in sales that gives you everything you ever dreamed of? So the business world is changing. The reality is, if you've lost everything today, with the advent of AI and robotics and so many things changing, what would I do differently? How would I become a top, high-value salesperson that earns incredible income and lives a fantastic lifestyle if I had to start again? If I had to go again, knowing that I live in an AI-dominated world, what would I do? If you want to know the answer, here's how I would do it. Here's how I would rebuild my career and achieve incredible things if I had nothing today and had to start again from scratch. So in order to do that, I think there are 4 things that you need to take into account and to make sure you apply in your work and your life in order to go from nothing to everything. Point number 1 is you've got to know exactly what you want and why it matters. Point number 2 is be really honest and look in the mirror at what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Point number 3 is you have to develop skills that make you irreplaceable in sales today. And point number 4 is you have to take relentless action to create opportunities that can enable you to achieve the things you want to. Let's get into the points and follow these and take these steps and make sure you apply them to get you from where you are now to a completely different place. Point is this: you have to sit even with a blank piece of paper and define your goal and your timeline. What is it you want to achieve? If you're at rock bottom, the only thing you can say is, how do I get to a new place? And you've got to define what it is you want to achieve, and the most important thing is when by. And sometimes if you've got nothing, someone might say, I want to be a millionaire in 5 months' time. And the reality is you may achieve that, but it's going to be tough to do that because you're going to need to get lucky and lots of things happen for you to go your way, and to realistically expect that to happen is unlikely. But what you can do is start to build yourself a longer term plan. Bill Gates was quoted as saying, people underestimate what they can do in 10 years, but overestimate what they can do in 1 year. So maybe give yourself that pathway to look and say, right, within the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, this is what I'm going to achieve. These are the goals that I'm going to hit. These are the targets that I'm going to set for myself. And then you want to be in a position where you can then start to break those down year by year, month by month, week by week, day by day, so that you can take action today that affects your longer term goal. Have a target. If you don't know where you're going, you are going to be aimless. So step number 1 is write down what you want to achieve in year 1. If you're watching this, let's say on the 29th of January, where do you want to be on the 29th of January in a year's time? What do you want to have achieved? Write down why it matters and what that target is. The second point is this: you have to also identify your why. I do the things that I do because I have a belief and a mission in my life that I want to make an impact on the world when I'm gone. I don't want to be forgotten about. I want my videos and the work that I do to transform and be in a position that can carry on and live after me. That's my why, but what's yours? Why does this matter to you? Are you just reached rock bottom and you think, I never want to go back there again? Are you in a position where someone told you that you couldn't achieve something, or that they felt that you couldn't make it happen? Are you in a position where you've had the worst things happen to you and you're just fed up of that bad luck and situations controlling you? Or are you in a position where you want to make an impact on the world and empower other people to change something, to solve a problem that exists right now? Whatever those things are, you have to write down your why. Simon Sinek talks about it starts with why, and he's so true in what he says, that when we understand our why, or as David Goggins calls it, our North Star, things become easier. It becomes what we focus on. It becomes something that becomes our compass when times are going tough. Motivation will get you started, but it's that why and that constant essence of what you want to achieve that's going to be the fuel that continues through your journey. The third thing I would do, and I do this on a regular basis, is I would look in the mirror and I would look at what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are. The beauty when you start to look at what your strengths and weaknesses are is you can identify areas where, sure, you can improve, but also where you can have most impact. Where are you at your best? Maybe you've been in a business role before, or a sales role. Where are you at your best? Are you at your best when you're engaging with new customers? Or are you at your best when you're working in the background and processing ideas and different elements, or creating brands, or creating videos, whatever? Where are you at your strengths and where are your weaknesses? I know in my world that I'm really good when I engage with people and working with people to inspire them and to help them. I'm not the best at maybe delivering on some of the projects. So I know my weaknesses and I understand where they are, so I can then look to make sure I don't focus my time and efforts on trying to change those, because I know that's my character and I'm not going to overnight just become something different. I know where I'm good and where I'm weak, and I focus myself right now on my strengths and then bring other people in that can help me with my weaknesses. But you've got to do the same thing. Be honest with yourself. Really look in the mirror and say, where are you strong and where are you weak? And write that list down on a piece of paper. And be open and honest and share it with other people, that are loved ones. If you want to reach out and share it with me, do so. Put it in the comment section or drop me an email. But the reality is, identify where you've got your weaknesses and where you need to build, and then we can work on a plan to change those weaknesses or improve them, but more importantly, develop those strengths so you can focus on becoming the person you want to be. Point number 4 is we have to understand that the sales landscape has and is changing. If you're in a sales role and you've lost your opportunity and you've lost the job and you're thinking, where do I go from here? I'm going to be clear with you. You've got 2 options. And I'm going to go over to the board in a minute and show you the 2 options that you need to think about and why there is only 2 ways to go forward in the next 12 to 18 months. And you've got to pick one of those options to decide which way you want to go. But the reality is the landscape is changing and is continually changing. And the most important thing is we have to evolve with it. And if we don't, we're going to get left behind. So let's get over to the board and talk through how the sales landscape is changing and which one you can pick. So the way the world is changing is simple when it comes to sales. I think there's 2 options that you've got. And the reality is, option number 1 is the world is going to become more AI. Things are going to become more automatic. There are already systems and agents out there that will do the work of humans without you having to worry about necessarily employing someone. They'll do the calling, they'll do the follow-up, they'll do the automatic elements. AI is going to do a number of those things. The question is, does it do it well enough compared to a human? A human that has emotions and the ability to understand the other side and the ability to connect with someone and to be different. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think automatic tools and AI are going to be able to do that for the next 2 to 3 years in the same way that a human can. I've already seen these tools. I've already listened to them. I've already heard them. They're not going to do it in the same way that a human being will. In time they may, but right now your opportunity as we stand here in 2025 is to become the very best human-based salesperson that you can. The ability to understand and connect and to really what's going on inside the mind of the other person. AI and a robot's not going to do that straight away. Humans can. And if you start to choose that path rather than this path, you're going to give yourself the best chance of achieving incredible success in the next 12 to 18 months. So the 5th point is this. If we want to focus on the human element of sales, the reality is, how are you going to differentiate yourself from the thousands of other people out there that already try and do that? The reality is you have a choice as to whether you just want to be the same type of person that does the same things, maybe sending emails or sending messages, or are you going to be different? Are you going to be brave to maybe pick up the phone and make some calls to a group of people and commit to doing some targets every day on the amount of calls or connections that you can make? Or maybe you're going to focus on some new ideas, like being able to do video messages where you can prospect effectively to a really complete target audience, and then start to really just you do videos to be able to showcase how you're different and do that on a consistent basis. Or are you going to be able to use maybe some funny lines in a joke that you can send in a voice note that can maybe make the other person that you're engaging with smile and want to think, okay, who's this person? The reality is, if you want to be the same as everyone else, you're going to go down the AI automatic route. Whereas the salesperson and the people that are different are going to be able to stand out from the crowd. And if you're at that low point, you think, I want to change, I want to move from where I am right now to a different place, then you've got to then be able to start looking at how you can be different. Start being creative. Get a piece of paper and start writing down creative ways in which you can engage with the people that you want to sell to or build relationships with. Start thinking how you can build connections with them. And not all of them will work, but out of 7 to 8 ideas, you might get one gem that opens up a door and enables you to do something different. So just focus on being a bit different. Everyone that's the same is going to get the same results. If you're at that rock bottom place and you want to start again, you need to be slightly different and change the perceptions of the people you're engaging with. So the next point is, if you are at rock bottom and you think, I need a job, I need someone to get started, you've got to be able to showcase some of the most critical sales skills you can have. You might want to sell your own services, but if you want to go and work for someone else to build knowledge and build that reserve of money up to get started with, then show that you've got some core sales skills to be able to make an impact in that organization. When I'm hiring salespeople, I'm looking for that hunger and that attitude, that desire to learn. I want to see that they've actually listened and watched and read books and webinars and podcasts recently, and that they've got this thirst and hunger to learn rather than just watch the TV or read, stuff that isn't going to give them value. I'm also looking for those other really important sales skills, like the ability to have emotional control, so they know when to talk and when not to talk. Or how to control their breathing, their challenges when they're having to maybe do a practice on a role play. Or to be able to feel comfortable to know how to adjust or say certain words at a certain point in time in order to overcome the challenge that they're facing. Or the ability to read other people so that they become an expert and be able to spot when there's an issue or when there's an opportunity to go further. The key thing is you have to be able to showcase some of the basic core skills. And if you can't understand how to be a great listener and to ask great questions, you're never going to become successful in sales, and you're not going to move from the position you are now to where you want to be. So showcase those great skills. Yes, be different. Yes, be human, but understand the core basics of sales are common. So the next point is this. If you are literally at the bottom point, then the next thing I'm going to say to you is this: accept that you're going to have to start at the lower level in order to get up to the higher place. The reality is, a lot of people think, I don't want to go back to the bottom. I don't want to go and learn again. I don't want to have to regraft and do all those other things that I did before. Where if you've lost everything, you're going to potentially have to accept that the only way to start is at the bottom of the ladder and build yourself up rung and step by step. Be willing to prove yourself with entry-level roles. Be willing to impress those that you work with with your work ethic and your commitment to being there on time and to delivering and doing what's asked of you. Success comes from results, but results take time. And we often have to accept that we just can't short-circuit that process. But there is a way of making sure that you can go quicker, and that's to do more. Most salespeople will do 8 to 10 hours in a day. Maybe you can be different and do the one that does 12 to 14, or maybe even more, or spend the rest of the time learning and applying your skills. The reality is, for you to accept you want to get to the top, you're going to have to start at the bottom again. But accept that you have to start small in order to get to the higher levels. It's what has to happen when we've sometimes reached rock bottom and where we need to start again. The next point is this: we have to take action every single day. I'm going to tell you a story. For the last 141 days, I've been doing press-ups per day. I'm part of a group of a number of people, and we started this group so we would just inspire each other to continue to do these press-ups per day. And we started to then include some sit-ups, some squats as well. And guess what? As a result of that now, for 140 days in a row, I've done over 100 press-ups a day. I feel stronger as a result of it, and it's happened because I've made discipline my key focus. So many people want to do things 1 day or 2 days at a time, but don't want to carry things on. Motivation is what gets you started, but discipline will keep you going. And you have to be disciplined about taking action every single day. Maybe that's an element around connecting with, you set yourself a target to connect with 10 people a day. Or maybe you set yourself a target to call 50 people a day. Or maybe you set yourself a target to create 50 videos a day. I don't know. But you have to take relentless action if you're to move from where you are now to the new place you want to be. As David Goggins would say, we have to be in a position where we never negotiate with ourselves. So write down the actions that you're going to take per day and take them. Be committed to doing that if you want to change from where you are now to a better place. So the next key point is we have to build a personal brand. We have an opportunity nowadays with our phones and devices where we can get up and share information on YouTube and on Instagram and also TikTok and social tools, and we can be visible and build a personal brand for who we are, what we're about, and what impact we want to make in the world. And guess what? You're going to get people at certain points in time that are going to start saying, oh, you're doing rubbish things, and why are you doing that? And maybe they're going to laugh at you, or they're going to think, this is not the right thing to do. I guarantee you, when I started my YouTube channel, I had loads of people say to me, why are you doing that? What's the purpose of that? I even had one family member that said, oh, you won't get very far with this. And that was in the back of my mind. I thought, right, I'm just going to continue to do what I do day in, day out. And as time grows and you start to see more impact, you do more and more things. So build and commit to building a personal brand, to be visible in the market space in which you're working with. Commit to making sure that people see, there's that person again. I can see what they're doing. I can see what they're sharing. They've got a passion to go and change something or make an impact in a certain area. And it's going to, over a period of time, not straight away, it's going to make people think, wow, this person's continuing to be here, and they're going to start to see who you are and what you're about. And it's going to help you move from where you are right now to the place you want to be. The 10th point, and this is probably one of the most important areas I think you can start with, is if you are at that bottom point and you really want to start again, focus on a niche. There's a great phrase that says the riches are in the niches. And I always use the phrase when I talk to lots of people that you're better off to be something to somebody than everything to everyone. There are so many examples of people who have become so specialized in a certain area that they've built up an audience and a following as a result of that, and they've then been able to develop and grow a business from that point onwards. So if you're in a sales role right now, focus on a sweet spot audience that you can build relationships with. Focus on being something to a group of people in that space. Or if you're in a position where you're trying to open up a new business, try and identify which specific target market you can engage with. And remember, there are 3 key factors for a target market. There has to be enough of them in order for you to achieve your goals. They have to be prepared to pay or value the services you provide. And the third thing is you've got to enjoy working with these people. You've got to want to be able to support them to help give their best. So don't just try and say, I sell to small businesses, or I'm going to work with accountants, or I'm going to work with hairdressers. Focus on saying, I'm going to work with hairdressers that have salons of over 25 people in size, and I'm going to help them achieve this issue. Or be very specific so that you can really talk to an audience and make that audience think, wow, this person is engaging with me. And if there's enough of them, once you build that platform up, you can grow and build from that point onwards. Tony Robbins was one of the greatest motivational speakers in the world, but he started off as someone that was going to help people of a certain age stop smoking, and then he expanded and built his empire to grow bigger and bigger. So if you're starting out from scratch, focus on a sweet spot audience that you can become known for and something within. It's the best advice I can give you in order for you to go and build something you can then take on to a next level. Point number 11 is this: connect with people relentlessly. We all know that it's not our net worth, it's our network. And if you start to look at the people that make things happen in the world, they've built connections and they are able to engage and build relationships with people. The reality is you've got to build those connections with people that are going to have value and be able to engage and see what you're doing. But if you sit on your backside all day nothing and do nothing, then how can you start to grow? You've got tools like Facebook or LinkedIn that enable you to connect with people all over the world. And especially if you can identify the audience and the sweet spot niche that you're focused on, you can then go and find people that work within that space. If you want to be successful, the best way is to start to connect to those people and ask them, what can I learn from you? How can I learn from you? If you're in the sales world and you want to grow to become more effective at sales, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll help you and support you with information and ideas that I'll share to help you grow. The reality is, make sure you're connecting with people per day. I set myself the target of trying to connect with 5 people per day. You may be able to do 20, 25, I don't know. The reality is, focus on connections and building relationships. Head to events, head to activities where you can meet new people and be curious about them so you can then start to work out. They may not be able to help you straight away, but over time they can make an impact and difference in your world. If you build that connection up and you start to be a person that's a servant and a focus on not just trying to sell to people, but trying to build relationships with them, great things can happen. And my final point in this is, if you're at that bottom place and you're thinking, well, I've got an opportunity to go and get a new job or to do something, prepare like a pro. If you want to go and have an interview to go for a new role, then spend some time looking at that company. Spend some time understanding the business, what's going on, the people that you're interviewing. Don't stalk them, but ask them and ask questions and tell them that you've been able to see information about who they are and what they've done. And write those elements down and be able to then learn further so that you can know what to expect when you meet those people that you're talking to. When you're in conversations with people, when you're in discussions around being able to ask questions about what you do, be able to write down what you've achieved and how you made things happen. And be open about the weaknesses that you might have so that you can share with them what you've done wrong and what you can do differently in the future. The key thing is preparation is everything. Make sure you look like you've prepared. If you want to go from that place where you are now to somewhere new, you've got to show that it matters to you, and preparation is the starting point of that. So in conclusion, if I had to start over again today, I would look at these set of characteristics as things that are vital in order to change, to move from where I am to a better place. I would want to be looking at how I can build those skills. I can stand out and build a personal brand. I can take action on a regular basis. I can identify where I'm strong and weak in order to move to the next place. And the reality is, if you do those things today and follow the steps that I've said, you are going to give yourself the best chance possible of moving from your current position to someone new that's better and it's going to give you the life you've dreamed of. The reality is, when we're on a new path to somewhere new, you're going to have to take some action. But most people forget that on the road to success, there are very few people on the final mile. We have to go through some of the tough times to come out the other end. But what are the key things you can put in place today that can help you move from where you are to a new place? Let me know in the comments as to what are the things that you've done that's going to help you change your life, change your career, and get to the place you want to be. But I do know one thing. If I had lost everything and had nothing in place, these are the steps and actions that I would take to rebuild and to go again. I want you to do the same so that you can build the life you want and become that phoenix from the flames. Go and make it happen.